All right. Let's see if this works. Okay, cool. So we are about, wow, 13 out to our top of descent. And this is an airport that I've never flown into, so not super familiar with the approaches. Um, but yeah, I wanted to record this, see how it goes. Descent and landing into Perth from Brisbane. It's a long flight. It's about a 5 hour, I don't know, 5 hours we've been up in the air. It's a pretty long flight across Australia, which is actually a pretty massive continent. It's pretty much like going from New York to San Francisco. Absolutely beautiful scenery, though. You're looking at this. Beautiful. This is the part of Australia where they actually get rain, so um, decent looking farmland and stuff down there. So the weather so far looks good, kind of. Perth is showing um, the winds are 030 at 6, so 6 knot is pretty light wind. And we are planning for uh, runway 3, I think is actually the runway we're coming in on. And the flight plan did not give us an arrival. It's pretty much just a direct to, so we're going to be doing that direct to. Um, cool, looking good. We should be starting our descent any minute now. Cool. Yep. I'll get a little bit of speed brake out here to help us slow down. Let's see, anything I need to do? I don't think so. Just want to make sure we're following that descent path thing. We put the speed brake back in. So I fly offline, and even if I were online, there's no VATSIM traffic down here right now, and there's no VATSIM controllers. So, um, because it is like 8 a.m. in Australia, or 9 a.m., something like that. So nobody's online for ATC anyway. So like I'm fine with vectoring myself in to this airport. Basically, basically after Beverly, we're gonna take a direct into, or not a direct. We're gonna vector ourselves into the initial approach fix for the runway. And again, weather's looking pretty good. Um, kind of. It is raining on the ground. Um, there are some low level clouds, but the winds are calm, and that's kind of what's important. If the winds are calm, you can land in just about any condition, assuming you have good visibility. So, yeah. So we're still descending pretty slowly. Um, we've got a little bit of a ways to go. And I guess we can go on ahead and plan auto brake 2 for now. And we need to be at 3,000 by Timmy, where our speed also needs to be at 185. Cool. Yeah, you can see we're coming into the clouds. Not the best weather. We got to remember um, it's also like almost winter time in the southern hemisphere. So this is real time, by the way. Real time, real weather. So it is early morning. I don't actually know what local time is. I think it's probably around 9 a.m. Actually, you know what? Google will fix that for me. If I go to Google, world time zones, worldtimezone.com. It is currently 8:25 a.m. in Perth. Um, so yeah, it is. It is pretty early. And when we departed this flight in Brisbane about 5 hours ago, um, it was really early. The sun had not even risen yet. So, but we're also flying west, so we're gaining time by going back. So in Brisbane right now, Brisbane local time. What is Brisbane local time? Brisbane's local time is 10:25 a.m. And then here where I'm streaming here where I'm recording is 8:25. So 8:25 p.m. So Perth is essentially 12 hours ahead in the future. So 8:25 a.m. Tuesday morning. Airplane's still descending pretty good. Um, we do see that it's -10 and we're coming up on some clouds. So with -10 clouds, there's a chance for some icing, especially given the weather conditions. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the wing and engine anti-ice just in case, that we need it or not. Doesn't hurt to have it. And then once we get through this cloud layer and it starts warming up on us, we can turn that off. Going through the clouds now. Yeah, I probably need to put the seatbelts on. And I still think we're good. I mean, I kind of took care of um, everything I needed to take care of. So we already have our course set and our altitude set. Um, And we are going to be vectoring ourselves here after Beverly. So here in pretty soon we're going to be vectoring ourselves. The flight plan had us going direct to the VOR for the airport, but I don't think, again, no VATSIM traffic in the area, no ATC online, so I think what we're going to do is just vector ourselves from Beverly to the ILS. And we know we need to be at 3,000. So, still flying through some clouds. Still -2. So it's still kind of chilly. I guess we can go ahead and set our approach speed of flap 30, 149. We've got a really long runway, so I'm not worried about that. Cool. And I guess we can make our map a little bit smaller there. I'm trying to figure out what heading we want to actually. Yeah, what heading do we want after we? Yeah, we want to kind of come around this way and then reach the ILS. So I think we can plan for the general 270 heading for now. Should work. There's a lot of thick cloud, which is funny because for most of this flight there hasn't been any cloud at all. The weather was, even not even any turbulence at all, really, in cruise the whole time, which is pretty rare. Usually, even the turbulence gets shaky, but you can see the wind. Still got some wind coming at us. A pretty good wind for this low, for being below 18,000 feet. Still pretty windy. Okay, we can go back to standard barometric, or we can go back to out of standard barometric pressure to the local altimeter, which is 1018 hectopascals. And let's see. I think we can we can go ahead and kill the anti-ice at this point. It's +5, +4 outside, so it's warm enough. I don't know what 5 degrees Celsius is in Fahrenheit, but it's probably, 36 degrees, 37, 38, something like that. Still a lot of thick clouds. Okay, it's time for us to vector ourselves now, so we'll go ahead and select and go on this vector over here. I think we can keep this descent rate, we should be good. Still 48 miles to go. Yeah, just look at this, man. This is why I love flight simulation right here. I mean, I can just sit back, relax. I mean, it's too late in the day for me to have coffee, but I can just chill and look at this, like these views, you know. And there's so many cool approaches you can do in the simulator. I mean, there's the circle to land at Innsbruck. I mean, there's so many cool things you can do, and you don't even have to leave the house. And apparently, I mean, it's quite a realistic these aircraft. They're pretty realistic. They've been developed with input from real world pilots, and so I mean, it's crazy what you're able to do with just how insanely good the views are. I mean, just look at that. It's absolutely beautiful. Okay, so we are kind of coming up on 10,000 feet, which means a couple things. By 10,000, we need to have our landing lights turned on. We need to have our runway lights turned on. We need to have our wing lights on. Uh, we need to notify the cabin that we are approaching below 10,000 and that you need to put your electronic devices stowed. So I'm going to hit that attendant button here. What else do we need to do? Yeah, we need to get our speed below 250 pretty soon. So I'm going to actually go on ahead and go speed intervene on the FMC here. We'll go put our speed back to 250. It's going to start slowing us down a little bit. And we can see it's already 14 degrees Celsius, so it's actually pretty warm. I mean, we're not even on the ground yet. 13, 14 is pretty warm. Okay, as we get closer, I'm going to make the map a little smaller. I think we want to go a little bit further. I think we want to go 250 on the heading. We'll go 259. I'm going to extend our downwind just a little bit before we make our turn up here towards Timmy. And we're going to want to start slowing down. Not quite yet, but we're going to want to start slowing down. That is a must. Now we're getting into some turbulence. You can see the aircraft shake a little bit. Kind of normal when you're coming through these cloud layers and getting closer to the ground. The air is getting warmer, so it's kind of normal. Okay, now we're 26 miles out from the runway. I think I'm gonna, let's see, by Timmy we need to be at 185. So I think I'm gonna drop our speed down to 220. Start slowing down a little bit. Yeah, it's not wanting to slow down, so we'll drop that speed brake out a little bit. And we'll also go flap 1 and flap 2 and flap 5. Cool. That'll help us slow down. Also add some drag to the airplane. You can see with the flaps out now. Pretty cool. Oh wow, look at that. You can see the Indian Ocean coming up on the coast. Where, interestingly enough, most of Australia's people live on the coast. I think we can probably start making a slight right turn. Get a little bit closer towards the runway here. And pretty soon we'll be just doing a direct to in the FMC. Yeah, we've still got, I mean, we're at 6,000-ish feet, and we still have some pretty gnarly winds. 35 knots, 36 knots. Pretty strong. But yeah, just look at this scenery, though, man. I mean, it's so nice. It's perfect. All right. Okay, let's see. What do we need to do? I still keep thinking I'm forgetting something, but there isn't really a lot to this arrival, to be honest with you, because I mean we're not on a star, so we're just doing a vector to the approach fix. I don't know if ATC would ever do a vector like this. But I think we can just go on ahead and do our direct to. We'll execute that. And we'll go ahead and put LNAV back on. Cool. And we'll go down to 200 knots. So start slowing this down a little bit. And we're going to be turning right into that wind. So it's going to be hard to slow us down. But just look at it. Look at this detail. The clouds. Different types of cloud formations. Beautiful. So I think we'll be intercepting the localizer here shortly. And we are about 18 miles out. So we intercept the loc. That means we're basically in line with the runway. Um, I don't remember what I think our minimums on this approach. It's probably something I should have looked at. Um, select the ILS Zulu. What are the minimums? For the minimums at the bottom here are oh, that's what I figured. Okay. So we'll go ahead and set those minimums here. 217 feet. If we're starting to lose some airspeed, the wind is starting to go down on us a little bit there. We got 15 miles to go, 15 DME, usually about 10 out. There's the glide slope. So let's bring it back to 185 for now. So 185, we'll go an extra notch of flap, flap 10. Look at this. Plus 16 degrees. This almost kind of looks like Florida, I'm not gonna lie. Especially that lake right there. Okay, altitude warning. And by Timmy, we need to be at 185, which is exactly what I'm at, give or take a couple knots. And so I think at Timmy, we want to intercept the loc and the glide. Okay, so we're hitting our altitude target of 3,000, right where we want to be. And we can see these two diamonds there, so we're going to go ahead and hit the approach button. Perfect. And we're 9 out, so let's go on ahead and let's go down to 170 on the speed. And we'll go gear and flap. Help us slow down a little bit. Oh, there's the rain. There's the rain. Yeah, so we're coming in the rain. So we are basically on glide, which is our vertical path, and we are on localizer, which is our horizontal path. And we are about 7 miles from the runway. So, yep, have visual on the runway. A nice, perfect early morning landing. Couldn't ask for anything better than this. Perfect. So now we're about 5 miles out. Let's go. Final approach speed was 149. And we'll keep bringing those flaps out. Still getting some wind. And I'm going to be flying it in myself here pretty soon. I'll be taking that autopilot off. Be flying it in. Looks nice. Nice and stable. 4 miles out. Going ahead and mind the cabin again. If you're not seated, you need to be. There's the wind shifting a little bit. Now below 1,000 feet, I'm going to go my airplane, my throttle, and I'm going to land it. So this might be a fun one because we got some wind shifts here. I'm going to do my best to follow the profile, the vertical profile. Yeah, we got some wind. Got some wind shift a little bit here. Nice and easy. To get it back on profile here. This is why I don't fly in real life, because I'd probably kill people. I don't think those trees are really that high right there, but get it back. And there we go. Not the greatest landing there. It was a little bit unstable, but given what I had to work with there, the weather conditions stuff, I'll take it. The wind kind of shifted quite a bit there. All right, we can bring those reversers back. We can disarm the auto brake. And since we missed that first turn off, we can go on ahead and we'll take the second turn off here. And I believe our terminal is going to be to the right. So, cool. Then we'll go ahead and clean up the airplane. Go flap up. We'll go ahead and start APU. Landing lights come off. Taxi light come on. We can go ahead and get our strobe and steady lights down to steady only. And then once APU comes alive, we can switch over to APU power. But yeah, that was not the worst landing, especially after that flight being like 5 hours. I'll take that. Could have been a little bit better. I feel like I was still kind of fighting with that one. But we didn't get any warnings. We didn't get any sink rate or glide slope callouts on that, so I'll take that. And what is landing rate? We'll find out what the landing rate is. And here's the terminal, so we'll just continue our taxi towards the terminal. The APU should be alive. So APU alive, we'll go ahead and swap our electric over to APU, and we'll switch our bleed to APU bleed. And keep taxiing in. I don't know, this might actually be the international terminal. Let's see. Is this the international terminal? There's only one way to find out here. And pull up the no, I mean it says terminal 1, terminal 2. Oh yeah, domestic is actually the other terminal. So I'm actually going to the wrong spot, but that's okay. That's fine. I could have taken the left turn off there. But like I said, I've never flown to this airport before, so not super familiar with it. The landing rate, according to Volanta, was a 258. So that's probably about an average landing. But honestly, I'll take it. We didn't float it. It was on the runway on the center line. We didn't have to force it down. A 258 is a normal everyday landing. Your passenger would not complain about that. A 258 is especially in a Boeing, 258 is it's a relatively firm landing, but it's not something that a passenger would really be like, man, that landing was rough. It's especially given that the winds were kind of coming at us from different directions there. I mean, the METAR said the winds were calm, like, 6 knots or something, but the reality is those last 500 feet above the ground, the winds were doing quite a bit of shifting, which I find happens a lot in the simulator. The wind shifts a lot as you get close to the ground. So, I guess we will continue taxiing. Just find a spot over here. Next, I mean, that's an A380. Actually, you know what? Let's do the smart thing. And why don't we go to the domestic terminal? So let's just, yeah, ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, nothing to see here, folks. Just your captain just got a little lost here. Taxiing over to the domestic terminal. So yeah, cool stuff, man. I felt like the landing could have been a little bit better. A little bit better there. Could have flared it. But it's hard to say. But you could analyze their landings all day long. But honestly, the Boeing is a bird that will, for the most part, the Boeing will reward you for just flying the airplane. Like you're never gonna just smash. I mean, a 250 isn't a smash in my book. You're never gonna smash a Boeing if you're flying it properly. The Airbus, on the other hand, from what I've noticed, Airbus is a little more difficult to fly, and sometimes it will just it won't flare, or when you try to flare it, the bottom drops out on you because it'll balloon, and then suddenly you'll lose all that extra airspeed. I've had the Airbus do some weird things to me, whereas the Boeing, if you fly it and you stay on top of it, you'll get a decent landing for the most part on center line, a little bit firm, but that's what you want. You don't want to fly down the whole section of the runway just to get a good greasy landing. So I'm going to cross the active runway here. I mean, we're not online, but we're going to pretend we're online. So we're going to turn the runway turn. Actually, they were already on. So yeah, runway turnoffs. Because apparently, yeah, the domestic traffic parks over here. So I did not know that. Usually, I find at most airports it's the other way around. Like at Sydney, the domestic traffic park on the right side of the runway, and the international traffic park on the left. But I guess at this airport it's different. So, flight time today, ladies and gentlemen, was, well, we haven't finished the flight yet, so I have to actually wait. So now Are there really going to be barricades here? Are we not supposed to go this way? And this is the only way that I see forward, so I'm going to hope that I can go through these and not crash. I guess we'll find out. Yeah. Oh, really? Come on, man. That is annoying. I'm just going to go around them. Because apparently those actually are objects that can damage the aircraft. So I'm just going to go around those. Nothing to see here. Man, once the A380 comes out and the 777 come out, I'm going to have to do some flights out of this airport. It looks like they get a lot of heavies. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how you're supposed to get to this domestic terminal, but I'm definitely not doing it the right way, I'll tell you that. Yeah, there's Jetstar down there. Cool. There, runway turnoffs come off. I think we can go ahead and get the taxi light off as well. There's Jetstar parks down there. Looks like Qantas parks up here. There's a Qantas A330. Really cool. Okay, so I think we want to go for one of these gates down here. I think we can take this one here. What is that? Yep, Boeing 737, which is exactly what I'm in, gate 18. Cool. So we will follow that line into the gate. Look at that. Have to give us a little bit more juice. A little bit more thrust to get up here. And I think we can stop. Let's go ahead and set the parking brake. That parking brake's on. Let's go ahead and let's see. Go ahead and turn the engines off. And let's go on ahead and get the wheel well light off, wing light off, anti-collision lights off, logo lights off. And let's go ahead and turn off our window heats, our pitot and probe heats. Yaw damper can come off. The electric hydraulic pumps can come off. Engine hydraulic pumps can come off. Don't need those. And I think we can go ahead and deboard the passengers here. So let's go ahead and get the wheel chocks. Request a ground power. Request a jetway. Cool. Yeah, look at our parking. Not too bad, but slightly off. Slightly off the line there. Cool. All right. Cool. So let's review our flight information today. Flight time was 5 hours and 6 minutes, and our block time was 5 hours and 28 minutes. And our landing rate was at 258 at 133 knots with winds 20 degrees at 8 knots. So 8 knots, slightly from the slightly from the left side there, a little bit of a left crosswind. We burned 14,000 kilograms of fuel on today's flight. And this is the very first one where I've actually recorded my landing. So, cool. That's it. So, yeah, kind of like the scenery. Pretty cool. Basically got to go from one end of Australia to the other. 5 hours to do so. Like I said, it's like flying from JFK to San Francisco, but I enjoyed that flight quite a bit. And I might start doing more of these videos in the future if enough people are interested in watching them. So, once again, thanks guys for watching. Appreciate it. And, yeah, safe landings, everybody, and hope everybody had a good Memorial Day weekend, and remember the reason for the holiday. Freedom isn't free. And if you know somebody who died in the line of duty, then hopefully you're thinking extra hard about them this weekend, and hopefully they'd be happy to see the world the way it is. You know, yeah. So thanks everybody. Peace. See ya.